Installing traditional snow stakes is time-consuming, expensive, and downright dangerous. Traditional fiberglass stakes cost as much as double, take twice as long to install, not to mention fiberglass splinters. That's where Plow-Right marking stakes come in. Our patented installation tool and carrying pack makes snow stake installation a breeze, installing up to 450 stakes an hour. Want the fastest and best snow stake system on the market? Look no further than Plow-Right marking stakes. Our stakes are made of hollow polypropylene, which will not crack, break, or splinter like traditional fiberglass stakes. 3 size options, 26, 36, and 46 inches, and 5 standard colors, orange, green, blue, red, and hot pink. Want more visibility than our standard stakes? Look no further than our reflective stakes, which sport a 2-inch 3M reflective band that is the highest grade reflective material ever put on a snow stake. Truly let your stakes be seen. Visit plow-right.com and order yours today. And make sure to use Brian's 10 to save 10% at checkout. The link is in the podcast description. And best of all, everything is 100% made in the USA.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Thanks for tuning in to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's all about lawns, lessons, life, and helping you guys grow a more successful lawn and landscaping business. Love having different guests on the show, and that is what we're going to be having on today. Joining with us is Johnny Ranieri, if I'm not mistaken. Johnny, so welcome to the show this morning. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Did I get the last name right, or do we need to course correct?
Yeah. Nope, you got it. You got it perfect.
I love it, man. Awesome. Well, thanks for taking time out of your afternoon. We're actually recording this a little later in the afternoon. You have college classes, and you're in college, but doing that, and then also have a great lawn and landscape company that's budding right before our eyes, which is really, really cool. So welcome to the show, man. If you want, why don't you give these guys 2 or 3 minutes, kind of get them up to speed about who you are, your name, your background, like we were talking about, what your lawn care company looks like, and we're going to be kind of sharing your story a little bit today on today's podcast.
All right, perfect. Thank you for having me. So yeah, like Brian said, my name is Johnny Ranieri. We're a landscape company based in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I own TerraCare Lawn Management. So we do, lawn care, landscaping, like softscaping. And we close down for the winter, so we take a couple months off of there. But I started back in 2020 when COVID happened. We didn't really have much to do going on. So I started off with a couple of lawns around the neighborhood, and then just kept going from there. I had my dad, he has his own landscape company. So with his expertise and his equipment, that's how I started. And then, I kept getting bigger and bigger, and now we're here. Here today, a couple of years later, with, I have just over 100 lawns. We do weekly. So yeah, that's a bit of a story of myself.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I guess the elephant in the room, you were saying your dad has a lawn care business, but I guess the story doesn't start there. Your grandpa had a lawn care landscaping business as well. So that's a little bit more unique. What's the story behind all of that? And I guess, starting your own business versus working for your dad, what's that story too?
Yeah. So my grandfather is from Italy. So he immigrated here when he was a bit younger. So he had a whole bunch of businesses before. Then he landed on landscaping. So he had, like, back in the day, he had a couple triaxles, a couple backhoes. Like, he was really the snow, really heavy into grass cutting. And then my dad joined in on his team. They did that for a long time. And then, so now my grandfather is starting to retire. My dad took it over. So now my dad's running that business. So then I've always been around, like, landscaping, all the equipment, all the machines, like, since I was a kid. So it just made sense for me to get into it. I love cutting grass. I love the landscaping and all that stuff. So my dad really helped me get into the company and get my own stuff going on as well. And yeah, he helps me a lot. Like, he helps me a lot with the bigger jobs. And now I drive, so I could do a lot more. But starting off, like, he helped me a lot.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what made you go on your own versus just working with the family business?
Mm-hmm. I've always been into business. When I just during 2020, I did work a lot with my dad. And I'm like, okay, well, if I could do my own thing, like, I always wanted my own thing to do it my way.
Mm-hmm.
Cause my dad's, a little bit older. He has like the older, tendencies. Like, he does stuff on paper. Like, I wanted to have my own way. So, I'm doing like the CRM and stuff like that. But yeah, so I've always been around, the business. So I just want to do my own thing, have my own thing to say that I built. Yeah, I really like to say, like, I built this and this is mine.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you guys have, you were saying 100+ weekly lawns, and business really started expanding and blowing up since the early days of COVID. And it seems like a lot of you guys, I feel like every young person that we've had on the podcast that's about 18, 19, 20 had a great leg up or catapult with their business because of COVID. So a lot of you guys were out of school or, doing the remote school learning, whatever you want to call it, these last couple of years, and really took advantage of growing your business because you're only in school an hour or two a day, quote unquote, with online, Zoom classes and all that fun stuff. So what's the growth been like? You said up to 100 customers today, and that's in the last couple of years, but that's a pretty stout company for, anybody at any age. And you guys are doing that at 18 years old. And now, are you still in high school or college, or what's the story there too?
Yeah. So I graduated in June.
Okay.
So now I'm going to college. I'm doing business management. So, hopefully it can teach me some business stuff and I can help me grow a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so this is my second week of college. So, I'm just trying to get into the swing of things of managing both.
That's a lot. So how are you doing with that, with managing school now that you're taking 10, 20 hours a week there, I'm sure, and then also mixing that in with managing 100 lawns? That's a full schedule. Are you doing it all by yourself, or do you got help?
Yeah, so I have help. So during the week, I have a pretty light, easy schedule. So it's not too bad. So I still have time to cut grass during the week. But our majority of the grass, we do it on Saturdays. We're able to condense 2 days of grass cutting into 1 day of grass cutting. So that helped me a lot. And I'm not sure if you guys do this, but in September and October, we do bi-weekly cutting.
Okay.
The grass slows down quite a bit. So, it takes 100 weekly lawnmower grass cutting to 50 a week because we do half now and then half the next week. So it's been a bit easier to manage, but there's still quite a lot of work to be done.
That's awesome. Now, how was it, in April, May, June, when you guys were doing 100 weekly lawns and you were still in school? I would imagine the grass started growing then. Was it absolutely crazy, or did you get them all done, or how did that work? Yeah,
we started cutting grass in May. So I had 2 months of going to school and cutting grass. So it was a bit hard. It was a bit hard. But I rearranged my schedule. So it's I took a spare. So first period spare. So I didn't go to school. So what I would start at 7 a.m. I'd cut grass. I'd go to school. And then during my lunch, and I had co-op, I would go cut grass. And I'd cut grass for the rest of the day.
Oh, wow.
I did that for the 5 days a week. So I'd always come in full of grass, full of dirt, and I'd sit in the class and I'd smell gas and grass. But we got it done.
Dude, that's awesome. There's many guys that have been on the podcast that talk about taking their truck or their rig to school, or they check with the principal first or the whatever, and give them a thumbs up. Make sure you lock up all your stuff, even if you're at school. But And then,
yeah, exactly.
yeah. And then some of you guys co-op and you're out at, 11 or 12 and get to go cut grass for the rest of the day or landscape or whatever. And it counts as credits or whatever you want to call it. But that's just being smart. That's just, playing the game and hustling the system a little bit. And I do not blame you, because when I was a junior, senior in high school, the last thing I wanted to do was still be at high school. So I was looking for every excuse, admittedly, to get out of school early, just like probably everybody that's 17 or 18 listening into the podcast. But just do it right, and make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's in that regard. So let me ask you this: you said your dad and then also your grandpa. More on the landscaping side of things, or at least that's what it sounds like, maybe bigger equipment, bigger trucks. Do you have any ambition in going into the landscaping side of business, or do you like the maintenance side of things, or is that just what's convenient right now while you're in college? Like what's the idea with the product offering that you guys do with your company?
Yeah. So the main thing that my company does is just the lawn care services. What I do, I still offer like softscaping and like mulch and topsoil. But then I get my dad and his crew to help me. So as of right now, just for my company, we do just the grass cutting. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping next year, I can get another truck going, maybe a dump trailer, and I can start doing my own like softscaping stuff, because I really like the softscaping and like just the maintenance. I don't want to go into like hardscaping. I feel like it's a whole different business. Yeah. I like the maintenance part of landscaping.
That's awesome. Now, you guys said that you shut down for winter, but do you guys get any requests for snow, or do you maybe pass it on to your dad's company, or what do you guys do there?
Yeah. So my dad, we all shut down for the winter.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day, they used to do a lot of snow, like crazy snow, because we get like 1 or 2 snowfalls a week. So snow over here is not a problem. We get lots of snow, but it's just a lot of work. Like they had I think 3 triaxles and 2 backhoes, and then like 5 plow trucks. So they we had a bit bigger before, but now we got out of it because it's just too much work. It's a lot of work to handle.
Yeah.
So we just shut down for the winter, take a break, get all the guys to take a break, and that's pretty much it.
I don't blame you on that one. I was talking to a friend of mine. It was a coaching call, and he was talking about they get like 70, 75 plus inches of snow in Canada, in Ottawa, and that's a lot. For
it's a lot.
And I know my friends from Buffalo are punching the radio right now. Relax. We know you guys all are the snow capital of the world. Okay, but
exactly.
But at the same point, anything north of 40, 50 inches of snow, that's a heavy commitment. And just to be frank with my Buffalo friends, Park City, Utah got 800 inches last year, guys. So, neener, so just having fun. But, there was an actual, building downtown Park City where they painted, just on the wall, the brick wall, what 800 inches of snow looked like. And, obviously it's 50, 60, 70 feet tall. And you're just like, what the heck? That's
a lot of snow.
That's a lot of snow, man. It was crazy to see like and then I think an average snowfall for them is like 400 inches or something like that in the mountains up there. But, I hear you, man. Snow's, it's already a commitment and lifestyle as it is. But when you start getting into, the really cold weather climates like you guys get, with that 0 degree stuff, that's when the equipment starts breaking down, and that is no fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. My dad had a lot of stories. My dad had a lot of horror stories of, like the wires breaking, the filters breaking in the middle of the snowstorm.
Sure.
It's pretty bad. So
yep.
He scared me out of it. So
he scared you out of it. Yeah. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, man. Kind of open mic. I remember you saying before we started on the podcast that you had a couple notes or a couple topics that you wanted to share. What anything in particular that you were bringing up that you wanted to mention? By the way, because I want to make sure I covered that while I got you.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. I have like a couple of topics. Like I just wanted to see, just because of everyone. Like I think everyone has the same question as me, and I want to try this for next year. I want to try to switch from like smaller lawns that I have now and going to like bigger lawns with like an acre property and getting like bigger machines. Like I'm not sure which one's better, like more profitable, like which one's more profitable. And that's like something I've been trying to go back and forth with.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, and one of my go-to lines that I say is like, bid all of your work to be profitable. I don't think you would make any less money on a $45 yard than you would a $100 weekly cut. The same profit margin should be there, but depending on how you bid it and if you get a good price on it. But I do understand a lot of folks like the bigger properties because it's less driving around, it's less wear and tear on the trucks. So I feel like there is some merit to that. But again, if I had to talk out loud and just think this thought through, that I would say you have to still make sure that it's the right type of property for your company. Because, for example, if you have 1 acre, plus sites and above, and you got a zero turn on there, and then, that you're driving potentially, and then you got another employee that is weed whipping and blowing off the drive. Well, again, if it takes 45 minutes to mow and 15 minutes to trim, then it's not exactly like a 1-to-1 on that time. So somebody's going to be sitting around. Now you can get another zero turn mower and he can hop on, and while he's mowing the back and trimming the house and then blowing off the lawn, you're mowing the front. But then you got 2 mowers at least working. But if you only have 1 acre size lots on your Monday route and Tuesday through Thursday, in an extreme example, you're only doing trailer park lawns and you don't need a second mower. Well, is it really worth having a $10, $12, $15,000 mower sitting on your trailer ramp, or your deck, for 3, 4, 5 days a week? Probably not. You're not really utilizing that asset very well. So, I would just say, like, as long as everything is moving and your equipment's making you money, that's a great approach. But I don't think there's any right or wrong answer with what makes you more money or what makes you less money. But I do see the merit of having bigger sites, HOAs, apartments, condos, and all that stuff. But the flip side is the bigger the property gets, sometimes those payment terms can start sticking out 30, 45, 60 plus days. And as long as your cash flow can hold that over with some of your residentials or smaller, faster paying accounts, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. But at the same point, let's say you got $100,000 a year account and it's costing you 60 days. If you can cash flow that, awesome. But if not, most people probably wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, I don't know. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like I have 100 lawns, right? So my 100 lawns aren't the same as your 100 lawns.
Yep.
So just because mine are like, I have so many small ones, and it's just like, it doesn't make sense, like revenue wise, like to have these little small ones when I can get, instead of 3 small ones, I can get 1 big one.
Yeah.
And they kind of equal out. And you also have to deal with, instead of dealing with 3 customers, you got to deal with 1.
Yeah.
So I'm more leaning into getting the bigger lawns. I kind of tired of push mowing. Like, I don't like these little, like small, like 20-minute lawns. Like, they kind of just a pain to do. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's not as much money into it.
Yeah. As long as you
that's what I'm trying to do next year.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you have a minimum for that lawn, again, if you did 3 little lawns at $50, let's say, or 1 big lawn at $150 in that example, you'll probably have less wear and tear and less overhead associated with the big lawn, obviously. But if you are doing 3 little lawns all for $25 each, that's not going to do anything for anybody. You have to have a minimum to show up just for your time. And if somebody's like $50 to mow, a postage stamp, you're like, listen, lady, it's not the 10 minutes of mowing. It's the 10 minutes to fight traffic, to and fro. And that's where I think a lot of people, they want the money, but when you really do the math, unless you're making $1 or $2 a minute, you're not making any money on that property, including travel time. And I actually was in that example. I had 125 lawns and we scaled down to about 75, 80. And people are like, well, you're only doing 80 lawns. Like, my business is bigger than yours. I get haters and trolls all the time on Instagram. A lot less these days, but I still get a couple knuckleheads once in a while. And they're like, I'm doing 200 properties. Brian's Lawn Maintenance is a joke. And I'm like, well, your 200 properties make you $250,000 a year in revenue. Our 75 sites that we manage bring in $400,000 in revenue. You know what I mean? So it's like, everybody just thinks more lawns is more money, but we consolidated and got rid of a bunch of bottom feeder lawns and bad pricing lawns and things that were out of our route. And it actually ended up making us significantly more money. And now a lot of the sites that we manage are actually getting pretty large. And that's what my company's been shifting to the last couple of years. So I think there's a lot of merit to what you're proposing for your company in the future. Just, again, do the math, run the numbers.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like at the start of the season, I had this goal. I said, I want to get 100 lawns. So the problem with that was like, okay, so any person who would call, I just take them on. Like whatever the price was, I just take them on just to get to the 100 lawns. Yeah. So that's the problem I'm running into now. Is like now I have to deal with myself before in the spring. I have to deal with all the small lawns just because I wanted to get that number so bad.
Yep.
That I did anything, and now I have it, and now I'm realizing it's not about just the amount of number of lawns, right?
Yeah, well, totally. It's all optics. You know, I talk about this quite a bit on YouTube when we do videos in the spring, and people say, I want to make $50,000 more, or I want to add 50 more lawns. Or they think $50,000 comes from 50 new customers, or 50 new customers means $50,000 new dollars. And that's just not true. I mean, I can go bid on one hospital system that's $200,000. But if I right now went on Facebook and I said, I have one customer, everybody would laugh me out of the room and call me, not successful because they all have 100 lawns, right? But what if that one lawn was, I don't know, the Taj Mahal property over in wherever the hell the Taj Mahal is. Yeah. But it's a $3 million account for the landscaping, over in, frankly, folks, I have no idea. Turkey, India, Dubai. I don't know. It's definitely not in America. Okay. That's awful. Someone's going to fact check me. But my point is sometimes guys, if you're listening in, this could be just a small side tangent, teaching moment. But, I was just on the phone with somebody today. They're like, well, how many lawns should I get? Or what's a good business look like? And I'm like, I don't know. It's up to you. Well, what's a good thing to aim at? I'm like, I don't know. It's up to you. I said, figure out your lifestyle, figure out what you need to make, you and your wifey, figure out what your lifestyle is. And by the way, you could, eat ramen and live in an apartment and live on $35,000 a year. You could, make $75,000 a year, have nice cars and have a nice home. Or I said, your lifestyle could cost you $150,000 a year, and you want Escalades in a $600,000 home. I'm like, it's all relative, but to get there, you need to know what your income needs to be, and to make that income derived from your business, then you need to know what it costs per hour to run your company. What's your overhead? What desired profit potential, and then you have to work that up into production, and that's your gross revenue number. It's just Liz and I are very simple people. We're actually way less smart than anybody listening in will give us credit to. I will assure you. But I smoked, second, third grade math. And I think that's just what I hold a candle to, because a lot of people are trying to do calculus and be fancy with their life and how to approach making money. And I'm like, actually, it's very, very simple. Figure out things how to make money. Assets pay for liabilities. Figure out how many or how much, or per hour, per day, or per week, or per month, or per year, depending on how that thing pays you. And that's going to support the lifestyle that you want. And so a lot of guys run into a trap. Like, I need 50 new customers, or I want to get to 100 customers, or whatever. And I'm like, bro, that's why I titled my book 0 to 100K. It wasn't 0 to 50 new customers, because 100K, and it's kind of, it's a double entendre there, where you can say 100K gross or 100K net, but it's pick or choose. But the bottom line is the 100K gross will net you 30. And if you're making 100K net, then you're good to go too. But I know that most people are able to replace their full-time job income with a typical 100K gross revenue business. And if you're an owner operator, making 40, 50 off of that. So the goal is hey, let's get you full-time. So that's the idea behind our book, 0 to 100K. If you guys haven't picked up a copy, it's on Audible and Amazon. Hey, by the way, I got an Audible credit reminder this morning. I have 11 audio credits to burn. So if you guys get those reminders and you haven't picked up the book, hey, you already paid for the credit anyway. If you want to support and buy the book for $0 because you already paid your monthly membership, then redeem the book. Super appreciate that. Just a little funny side note, but that's why we didn't quantify it how to get 500 new customers in 24 months or less. I kind of think people are working the equation backwards. So, but if you went from 100 plus accounts down to 75, but you raise all your prices 25%, and that's how you're down to 75, you would arguably make the same amount of money and do 25% less shuffling around and billing and invoicing and oil changes and tires and all that mess,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's something like I'm going to try for next year. Because the problem is, I'm not sure if what you guys do, but we lock them in for the whole season for contracts. So you can't just cut off customers now. I'm not sure if you guys, how you guys do it, but so like the small ones that I have now, well, I got to wait for next year. Even if they give me a hassle or give me problems, I still got to wait for next year to, fire them, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's also another thing.
Yeah. I guess it just depends on your billing. If you bill them $900 for the year, you're kind of married to them for the season. You're not going to like cancel them in September and then prorate them $150 back, but if you do that's why I'm a big fan of month-to-month invoicing for residential, because you can fluctuate that price. If you bid that strip mall and it's $12,000 lawn maintenance landscape contract, you can't really adjust pricing along the way. You can do that maybe once every 5 years, but if you do that more than once or twice, they're going to let you go because that's not how they're making their budgets either, So, but yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I encourage you to keep pressing in and doubling down on that because, we did the exact same thing. We had 125 accounts. We're down to about, I don't know. I'd have to look. It's probably 80 or 90. We're getting bigger with the size of our accounts. We just had a mailer go out just a couple days ago, actually, and then again in 2 weeks with Postcard Mania. Some of you guys might have heard that podcast episode with Samantha held real time, but we're looking to grow. And actually, I'm taking a page out of my friend Logan Manning's book with Earth Advocate. Every HOA he's picking up is worth $10,000 to $30,000. And if you want to, take something to $250,000, $500,000 really quick, you can do it with $10,000, $30,000 accounts versus, like you said, hundreds of residentials at $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 a year. But you gotta have the manpower and the labor and the equipment to boot. So it's a double-edged sword. But let me ask you this, just kind of shifting back to you and your story. Where do you plan to take things over the next 36 months? I would imagine you go to university, right, for 4 or 5 years. So what's the plan while you're in college?
Yeah, so my course is only 2 years. So this year, and then this is next year. So then after that, then I'm good to go. So for next year for sure, I'm looking to get either a 250 or a 350. I'm more looking for a 250 just so I could tow just a dump trailer for some river rock or some soil and stuff like that. With that, and then I can go send my other crew within my other truck to go cut the grass, and I could do some landscaping and softscaping. So that's my plan for next year. So again, I'm looking to have like 2 guys on like the lawn care crew.
Okay. And
then it'd be me and then my other buddy from he's in college right now, but he comes back in for the summer, so he would be just with me, and then we could do some. We could cut some grass. We can get some, softscaping and all that stuff done.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
That's my plan for next year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You could add a 100 to 200 grand year in gross revenue with that, in addition to what you guys are already pulling in. So that's a great way, man. And you can make him leading that while you're working both sides of the business and pay him really, really well.
Yeah, exactly. It worked out really well this year. Shout out to Brady. We did a lot of work together this year.
Cool.
But unfortunately, yes, he leaves for college. So we have a couple months together, which is good. But yeah, next year I'm hoping to get another truck and a couple of guys. It's just hard to find some guys to work.
Always.
Hopefully, we could find some people.
Well, it's. I was just talking to another person on the coaching call this morning, and we're talking about vision, culture, hiring folks. It was a really, really good conversation. He's got a 10-person company, 750 grand, going to $1 million quick, and I just shared as much as I could about the vision, spinning the dream, and all that kind of stuff with a lot of stuff that I learned with Corey Ballard and Greg Woodstock along the way. But man, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys are right there, man. You will definitely attract some more great talent, and know that you'll have a whole new labor pool to tap into with all your friends from college. So
Yeah, exactly. Some of my friends do landscaping as well, so it's good. It's good to get everyone going.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, that's kind of what I got for just notes that I wrote down for the podcast since we were texting back and forth on Instagram. But we're any final thoughts you want to leave these guys while we got you? But if not, I'll kind of button this thing up. And where can people find you as well?
Yeah, so people can find me. I'm just on Instagram, on TikTok. It's TerraCare Ottawa. You can go there, follow me, send me some questions if you like. It's always good to get people, know some people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we covered everything. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Absolutely, brother. Well, thanks for taking time and reaching out. And I'm glad we were able to lock down a time still because unfortunately it wasn't available during the normal times I batch out my content. But I said, hey, I'll work around the schedule. No big deal. I love getting more of you guys on the show. And a lot of you guys have been reaching out lately. So if you got a great story to tell, guys, shoot me an email, briansallmaintenance2007@gmail.com. And we'll email back and forth a little bit, see if it makes sense to get you on the show. No, I'm really excited about what you got going on. And by the way, for those of you guys that want to give them a follow, it's Terra, TERRA, care.ottawa over there in beautiful Ottawa, Canada, man. And it's cool going through the feed and seeing your company and seeing the growth, kind of like the time capsule, right? Going to some of the older photos to some of the newer ones and seeing the growth of your company, man. So you got a great thing going on and keep the hammer down.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for having me. Thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
You bet, man. What, by the way, what's your dad's name and what's your grandpa's name? You want to give him a shout out and tell him thanks for showing you the ropes?
Of course. Yeah. My dad's name is Joe and my grandfather's name is Giovanni. We share the same name. So my real name's Giovanni, but go by Johnny.
Are you,
so we share it.
Are you Joe or Giovanni the third or triple or whatever they call it?
Yeah, I guess something like that.
That's awesome.
Like that. Not my official name. But
Yeah,
something like that.
The legacy lives on, brother.
Exactly. That's the goal. That's why I'm doing it.
That's awesome, man.
To continue the legacy of my grandfather.
Yeah.
So.
Was your grandfather, you said, straight from Italy, by the way?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, man, he's
on the boat.
Yeah. Well, he's giving you the Canadian dream, the American dream, whatever you want to call it, to start your own business and be your own boss. And I'm sure he's really, really proud of you, man, and vice versa. So that's really, really cool, man. Great job.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's what I got for today's podcast and today's episode. Super appreciate you hopping on. And all you guys also that hopped on the podcast with us and got to hear a little bit more of Johnny's story. Super appreciate you guys listening in. The podcast is growing really, really well, guys. That's because of you. And I sincerely want to just say a big thank you to all of you guys that are listening to the show and come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And not only that, but those of you guys that share the show and little +1 for us and, leave reviews and ratings and that little +1. You're engaged with the show. I can't thank you guys enough for the love and the support. Literally, the coaching call that I was talking about just a quick second ago this morning, one of you guys down in Tennessee turned this other gentleman on to our podcast because he said, people are in our industry at the gas station, maybe you're filling up in the morning. They just don't talk to each other. Nobody's really nice or kind. Everybody's all kind of in the thick of it in the field. And the gentleman said, well, actually, that's true locally, but there's a bunch of great guys that put out content on YouTube and Instagram and the podcast, and somehow my name came up. Super gracious there, and this gentleman picked up the whole ball of wax and listening to the podcast. He's known about our content for like 3 days, and 2 days into it, picked up the whole ball of wax. And again, some people treat a crumb like a feast, some people treat a feast like a crumb, but that gentleman was 100% turned on to what we're doing, and had a banger coaching call with him this afternoon, and he's coming up to LAL, went all in. I mean, spent like 2 G's on just training and education and coaching, and I couldn't be more humbled from that. And we had just a really solid powwow conversation this morning with a coaching call. So that being said, all of you guys that are sharing the podcast, all of you guys that are sharing the YouTube channel and advocating for us, I can't thank you guys enough. Absolutely humbled, and anything I can do to help you guys grow, for real. We're in it together. In 2023, I've been trying to coin the phrase lawns, lessons, life, and real, authentic lawn care, helping you guys grow out there. We're doing the same thing you guys are doing every single day to grow, and couldn't be more excited about what you guys got going on and our friend Johnny today. So that being said, guys, we love you. We appreciate it. Get your tickets to Launchpreneur Academy Live 2023. You only got a couple more weeks before the early bird registration ends. That first part of October, I think it is on the 2nd there. So make sure you guys get your ticket ASAP. And guys, that's what I got. Look forward to catching up with you here on the next one.
Installing traditional snow stakes is time-consuming, expensive, and downright dangerous. Traditional fiberglass stakes cost as much as double, take twice as long to install, not to mention fiberglass splinters. That's where Plow-Rite marking stakes come in. Our patented installation tool and carrying pack makes snow stake installation a breeze, installing up to 450 stakes an hour. Want the fastest and best snow stake system on the market? Look no further than Plow-Rite marking stakes. Our stakes are made of hollow polypropylene, which will not crack, break, or splinter like traditional fiberglass stakes. 3 size options, 26, 36, and 46 inches, and 5 standard colors, orange, green, blue, red, and hot pink. Want more visibility than our standard stakes? Look no further than our reflective stakes, which sport a 2-inch 3M reflective band that is the highest grade reflective material ever put on a snow stake. Truly let your stakes be seen. Visit plow-rite.com and order yours today. And make sure to use Brian's 10 to save 10% at checkout. The link is in the podcast description. And best of all, everything is 100% made in the USA. Hi, I'm Mr. Producer, and one more thing. If you're looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and insights in the world of lawn care, then you need our free email newsletter. It's delivered 3 times a week and includes a Monday motivational to kick off your week, a Wednesday what's new to keep you informed, and a Friday weekly recap of all the content we put out. Join our mailing list to stay connected to the world of lawn care and get exclusive access to the latest and greatest from Fullerton Unfiltered and Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Don't miss out on this opportunity to stay ahead of the curve and elevate your lawn care game. Sign up now with the link we've provided in the show description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.